Yippee-Ki-Yay, mother.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Welcome to Yippee-Ki-Yay Mother Podcast Classic, episode number 100. I'm Ralph Quattrucci.
I'm Sean Paul Murphy.
I'm Deborah Murphy.
I'm Giovanni Quattrucci.
And I'm looking forward to watching The Batman now that it's on HBO Max.
Oh, that's a long name.
Don't be.
All right, hello everybody. How's everybody today?
Hey, Ralph, how are you today?
How's it happening, Ralph?
You had a little vacation this past weekend. You're all energized, ready to get all
Not
fired up?
energized in the least.
Oh, good.
I drank way too much on the beach. I've never been more bloated in my life. It had a great time. It was fantastic. Myrtle Beach is not a wild place, but
how was the weather?
Iffy. It was iffy. We had a good beach day. Then we had a bad morning, and then the sun came out in the middle of the second day. It was just nice.
And you were so drunk you didn't care.
Didn't care. The cool part is on the way home, I got to stop at south of the border.
Oh, wow. Still there.
Which I haven't been to in forever. And
what's south of the border?
Place. Oh my God.
If you drive down 95 South, you'll see billboards for it 5,000
Oh my God.
miles
it's all I didn't realize
and
it was
then when
that
you get
far.
there, it's just disappointing.
Oh,
but I had no idea how far north it was. I thought it was right there at Florida, but it's like half. I don't know. Because, as a kid, I remember going and seeing all those billboards that go mile after mile.
You can buy the fireworks there. Can't you buy fireworks there?
Anything. You can buy anything, actually.
I remember this about that. 50 cents to go to the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
You didn't crawl under?
Oh, she didn't say she paid the 50.
Oh, yeah. No, I had to see it, and it's so... forget all the...
What about Stuckey's? Was there a lot of signs for Stuckey's?
No, we went to another place. Not Stuckey's. There was another one where it was billboard after billboard after billboard, and you had to stop, and it was just the tourism and the amount of crap you can buy was insane.
What a country!
But I had to stop. It was fantastic.
Yeah, nice.
It was fun. So
you got caught in the tourist trap.
When you were stopped at the rest stop, were you sure that everyone was where they should be? And nobody vanished or anything? Because I heard that.
I put trackers on everybody.
Scary.
And told them not to talk to strangers. Although, you know how that goes. Everybody was safe and sound. Had a great time. Great weekend. So thank you.
Good.
All right, let's do a little round of what did you watch? John, let's start with you.
Well, you know me, I like the old classics, so I just rewatched The Maltese Falcon, 1941, directed by John Huston, starring Humphrey Bogart, Mary Astor, Sidney Greenstreet, Peter Lorre. Great, one of the first great film noir movies. Just a great movie, and actually was the one that really catapulted Humphrey Bogart to a whole new career, not just playing a bad guy. But if you've never seen it, great movie, great ending lines of stuff that dreams are made of. Great ending.
Definitely something I can see bringing here.
Yeah, I love that movie. And it's been made a couple of times, but this is the definitive version for sure. Just a great cast and just excellent movie. So that's what I watched.
Terrific. Yeah. Drew.
Well, The Great Pottery Throwdown is now back on HBO Max. I'm not ready to talk about it yet because we've only had one episode and I only cried once. But Keith on the show cried like 6 times, so I have a lot of catching up to do. But actually, I caught up on a movie that I wanted to see when it came out, and the entire rest of the planet saw it, and then I rented it and watched it this weekend, called Spider-Man Homeless or something. I like Marvel movies. I'm not one of these guys that's like, oh, superhero movies, they suck. Some of them are really good. Yeah, I'm not Ralph about it, which is fine. You can be. My wife is definitely Ralph about it. She's tired of all of it. But I have to say, I was pretty disappointed for the first hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, fair enough.
And then there's the scene in the kitchen where Jacob Batalon's character, Zendaya, realize that he can open a portal. So they open a portal and they call for Peter. But the Peter Parker that comes through is not the Peter Parker that they know. And it was so sweet and fun and clever. And I was completely detached from the movie until that scene. And then I was emotionally into it the rest of the movie. So I really enjoyed it. It was really more fun than I thought it was going to be to see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield again. And, all the villains from the other movies. And I really think that Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man movies are bad movies, but he's really good. and Emma Stone was really good. And there's a little moment where he saves a character from dying, and then it refers back to a moment where he couldn't do that in one of his movies, and it was just really sweet. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the biggest movie of the year, it was good.
Well, Drew, Andrew Garfield, because of the praise he got for this movie, they're talking about doing another Spider-Man with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I saw that in a full movie theater. And when that scene happened, because it starts, the portal opens and there's a big alley, and he's way back in the alley. So you only see the outline, and he gets
just
closer.
See Spider-Man, right?
That's right. He gets closer and closer. And then when he pulled the mask off, the place went nuts. Same thing with Tobey Maguire. It was just great. But you're right. I agree with you. I actually think it was Tom Holland's best performance of all the Spider-Man movies that he's done. But
he's great.
Andrew Garfield shined in that movie.
Yep. Is it streaming? Do you have to pay extra? Do you have to?
I rented it on Amazon Prime
it's
for
not streaming
$6.
$6.
I rented it for $6.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, I can understand how you feel, Drew, because I really think you needed to see the previous one, and it's callbacks. All the villains are callbacks.
Yeah.
To all the other movies. It's like you really had to see the entire trilogy to really appreciate it. And I missed some of the Garfield ones, I got to admit. I saw I don't like it that they do 3 movies and they constantly reboot the character. It's like, it'd be different if they rebooted the character once every 20 years.
Right.
Once every 6 or 7 years.
Is this the issue of Marvel, Sony, like Sony?
Well, it's actually a Sony movie. It's not a Marvel movie. It's a Sony movie.
This one's
Sony. This is Sony. Yeah. So, and it was nice. And Tobey Maguire was really good too. In fact, they're talking about making another movie with him, because now in the multiverse, they can do whatever they want. So why not?
That was actually one of the only, I thought, I don't like that, because I've seen all the Marvel movies and I like a lot of them, and I like Doctor Strange, which is what Benedict Cumberbatch plays. The idea that Peter Parker, who's just a kid, and they play that really well through all of the movies, would say, "Hey, can you change the universe so nobody knows I'm Spider-Man?" And that the Doctor Strange character would go, yeah, let's do that.
He would actually do it, right?
Yeah, that's just silly. I mean, they saved the entire universe from Thanos for 10 movies or 22 movies or whatever it was. And I'm glad I saw it. And Kelly surprised me. My wife, she said, I want to watch that Spider-Man movie. Everybody said it's really good. And I said, well, you haven't seen the other ones, but if you want to try it, we can try it. And she liked the Tobey Maguire ones when we saw them, 20 years ago. And she fell asleep 15 minutes in, so she didn't have a bad experience with the movie. So everybody had a nice evening.
Sounds nice.
I also think William Dafoe is the best villain in all the Marvel movies. I think he's great.
He was very good, but I just have a soft spot for Alfred Molina.
Yeah, well,
and I thought he was really great, and it was a different kind of villain than what he played in Promising Young Woman. But they both found some kind of redemption, so I thought it was interesting as well. So,
okay, I'll wait. Is it going to eventually stream for free, or do I have to?
Yeah, but
I don't know what service it'll be on, because it's not going to be on Disney Plus with all the other Disney Marvel movies. It's not going to be on Paramount. There's no Sony Columbia streaming service. So I think that for the foreseeable future, it's just going to be something that you can rent for $6 or buy digitally.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's great.
I'll probably make more money that way anyway.
I blew my streaming wad on this movie we did today. So, Sean, Debbie, what'd you watch?
Well, Debbie was watching, and I was sort of watching this Rex Harrison movie by Joe Mankiewicz from 1967. What was that called? It was like a 2.5 hour mystery.
My Fair Lady, right?
No.
You guys,
not Cleopatra.
It was a murder mystery.
Oh,
and Rita Hayworth was in it.
Oh yeah. It's Blade.
Do you guys talk about this before you get on?
No, we didn't talk about this, but I was just thinking that we were
because Dead Air is awesome.
Really kind of an odd movie for 1967.
Yeah,
it was just.
Did we determine the name yet?
No, we did not determine.
Rex Harrison and Rita Hayworth. Rita Hayworth did a movie in 67.
Why don't you talk about it while John looks it up?
Yeah,
and it was just a lot of those filmmakers. And I want to say one thing about Joseph Mankiewicz. I mean, Herman is, of course, the one considered the genius because of Citizen Kane. But Joseph was really hot. He did what's it, Letters to Four Women and All About Eve back to back. And those are, All About Eve is a monster. But he really, I thought, lost his touch soon thereafter.
Yeah.
And I read the autobiography about the Mankiewicz brothers, and Joseph did not seem like a good guy. It seemed like he always was using psychiatry to like gaslight his wives.
Yeah.
Because he was disinterested in having affairs.
In the film Mank, is he the so Mank is about which of the brothers?
Herman Mankiewicz.
Okay, so Joseph is the brother that kept coming over to meet him, that worked at the studio as well.
Yeah, his brother was a producer at first. And
okay. And they're all connected. That's Ben Mankiewicz and that whole
Ben Mankiewicz
on the news. They're all part of that.
You talk about the Happy Thieves?
No.
That's Rita Hayworth and Rex Harrison.
Maybe it was.
Must be the sequel to that one.
Please don't tell.
No.
Okay. This is
but I'm just I know it's boring, but we didn't.
No, it's not boring. It's comic gold.
It's gold.
It's gold, Jerry. It's gold.
No, but I just felt it was a very it was just like Hitchcock was like making Topaz in the late 70s. A lot of these like classic filmmakers, I felt, were like didn't know how to relate to the audiences. And Joe Mankiewicz ended up with like There Was a Crooked Man, that Western in the prison, which was an interesting movie. But once again, it wasn't all about Eve.
Kirk Douglas, right?
Kirk Douglas.
Right. It was that his big one was All About Eve, right?
He had a lot of big ones.
He had a lot of big films. I think Cleopatra broke his spirit, working on that film Cleopatra, which was a huge flop. And it was painful to work on for everyone involved. It was the hell shoot, and then it wasn't rewarded with greatness.
Right.
So, but that's what we were watching. And
do you recommend the film you don't? You recommend the film you don't remember the name of?
No, I'm not going to recommend this film that we can't remember. It's a movie that will not be named because
we can't,
like Voldemort.
You watch a movie and you
can't say it, John. You can't say it.
When you watch a movie and you really are like somewhat interested in it because of the director, and you're watching it and you go, where is this going? Where could it possibly go? And it ends up being like, wow, I wasted like an hour of my life.
The Honey Pot.
The Honey Pot. Yeah.
Yes.
I thought it was Spitfire Grill.
That's obvious.
Yeah.
The Honey Pot.
In Venice, a millionaire hires an actor to help him prank
I saw that, but
ex-girlfriends into thinking he's dying and leaving a fortune to each of them.
But Rita Hayworth wasn't in that. It was Susan Hayward.
That's it, Susan Hayward.
That's what screwed me up.
Hayward and Rita, I always get those two sisters.
Okay, so
it was hey.
So I had the right movie. You had the wrong actress. Okay, I got you.
All
right. I got you.
But anyway,
it was a great cast. There was a great American and Italian
but
cast.
ultimately,
you wouldn't recommend it.
You wouldn't you didn't like it. You didn't like the way it ended.
I didn't like it.
I found it fascinating. As a late period film by a great director.
Why?
I found it fascinating that he was trying to reach. You just hear like this occasional contemporary language in the film, and it seemed like it was grafted in. Somebody would say like groovy or something.
Oh yeah.
Wow. They throw a few words in to make you think.
That's how the kids talk today.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Hitchcock, Torn Curtain, Topaz. He lost his way for a while before he came to Frenzy. People, a lot of directors just stop directing.
You call it Frenzy? It's Frenzy.
It's Frenzy.
I thought it was about Friends. Frenzy.
Yeah.
Frenzies. All right. I'm going to talk about two things I definitely want to see at the end of this week, and then we'll talk about the one that I watched.
The Batman.
I definitely want to see a miniseries called Gaslight, starring Julia Roberts and Sean Penn as Martha Mitchell and John Mitchell, all about Watergate, based on the podcast called Slow Burn, all about Watergate. Looks fantastic. And as the more I learn about Martha Mitchell, I realize what a hero she actually was and how they did weird shit to her to keep her mouth shut. And it looks like it's going to be amazing. And of course, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is coming out at the end of this week.
I want to see that too.
With our boy Nick Cage. And that is
looks great.
That's that I'm going to see that. I can't wait.
Yeah.
But what I did watch was a documentary called You Don't Know Me. NOMI, and it's a documentary about Showgirls, the movie Showgirls.
Oh, wonderful.
And
Esterhaus, right? Is that
no. Well, Esterhaus wrote it, but it's mostly about
Verhoeven.
Paul Verhoeven and how his approach to that film and how it was, it was trash because it was trash, and how people are developing a new appreciation that maybe it's a piece of shit, but it might be a masterpiece piece of shit. And they did sort of the thing that Room 237 did, where nobody was interviewed on camera, so you're hearing just voices, and they're showing films from a lot of Paul Verhoeven. I don't know how Verhoeven's other films.
Would you like to know how to pronounce it? Because I'll be happy to tell you. His name is Paul Verhoeven.
Verhoeven, thank you,
buddy.
Obviously RoboCop, Total Recall, Basic Instinct,
Soldier of Orange
on the list. But he had a whole bunch of Danish. I think he's Danish. A whole bunch of Danish films.
Dutch.
He's Dutch.
Starring our guy we
Troopers.
talked about a couple weeks ago, the doctor from The Fugitive, was in a couple of his films. Rutger Hauer, I noticed. So what they do is they show, as they're discussing Showgirls, they'll say, yeah, and he looked at a TV, and they'll show clips from a movie with some guy looking at a TV. But it really is a really nice appreciation of that film. And you kind of walk away going, all right, I'll take that as a classic. It's not so bad. And they do.
You got paid a fortune for that script. They paid a fortune for that script.
They did, but they just came off Basic Instinct, so they were going to pay him anything.
Right.
And you kind of feel there's a little bit, you have a little soft spot for Elizabeth Berkley by the end of this, because she's developed this appreciation for how silly it was. And the director basically defended her a little bit, said it was I forced her to act the way she was acting.
Gina
Obviously,
Gershon
he loves
was in that. Oh.
What's that?
Gina
Yes.
Gershon.
And the director loves sex, and he loves the human body, and it's definitely obvious. So it's called You Don't Know Me, NOMI, and it's actually
when that movie came out in 1995, I was 19 years old. And I remember thinking, I don't know how to sex a girl. But then I watched Kyle MacLachlan
in the pool.
and Elizabeth Berkley have sex in the pool. And I was like,
he was in a washing machine.
I really need to work on my core if we're going to do that.
Well, it's amazing. The doc, there's that first scene where he's in the strip club and he does the lap dance, right?
Yep.
She does the lap dance on him. And the two scenes, when you look at them together, it's the same moves. She's doing the same moves. One of them is just underwater. The other one's on his lap.
Well, when her repertoire works, it doesn't need to be that broad.
Right. So. But all the things like the way even she ate hamburgers, the way she tore into the hamburger, and all the mannerisms are all. But this movie is sort of a loving view. And actually, there's a guy who goes around the country and he does lectures about Showgirls. And there's Broadway shows and there's all these shows that are just Showgirls, and it's actually fun. So,
do you like my dress? It's Versace.
Versace. So,
now, which was the better film, though? Showgirls or the Demi Moore
Striptease? Well, that's I have to say, Striptease was probably a better film.
Yeah,
but Showgirls, I think,
it's so different from each other.
Yeah, let me put it this way: I've seen both of them. I only remember one scene from Striptease. And I just remember her ripping the one where she rips her. That's the one.
That's the one.
I think I remember.
I remember Burt Reynolds covered with Vaseline.
Yes,
and his cowboy boots.
Yeah, and
that was also. But Demi Moore was at the height of her popularity at that point too, so that was pretty bold for her. Elizabeth Berkley.
She went topless. I mean, that was a big deal.
Yeah,
the stripper.
But and even in the doc, they're showing everything from the film. It's not
nice.
And he went for the NC-17 rating.
That's the other thing about that movie. There's so much nudity, and the way that it's presented, it actually is numbing.
Right.
I don't think it's gross.
No,
it's like you're right. It's not sexy at all. It's like what?
It's not sexy. It's like a Dr. Scratch.
What are they doing? What are they doing? So anyway, all right. Well, let's get back to some wholesome fun, and that would be the film that Sean brought today. Yeah. Sean, what'd you bring today?
Let me just say why I brought the film.
Please.
I'll say the title of the film is They Call Me Trinity. It is a Italian comedy Western starring Terrence Hill. I'm not going to give the Italian name. And Bud Spencer, who I'm not going to give that Italian name either. And it's a spoof of spaghetti Westerns.
Right.
This is probably the guiltiest of my guilty pleasures. I saw this film when it first came out at the Arcade Theater Harford Road in Baltimore, Maryland, and I saw it at that theater probably 10 times over the ensuing years. I was probably 10 years old when I first saw it because, they played double features at that theater. And oftentimes this would end up being the second feature when you'd go to see something else. So I saw this film a lot and I really loved it. And I could say if I'm in the film business, part of it is just how amusing this film was to me. And I really enjoyed it. It reminded me, in this film, there's a gunslinger who is probably a 90s slacker waiting to happen, named Trinity. He's a very blue-eyed guy, and he's incredibly lazy, but he's incredibly a talented gunfighter if he said so desired to do it. And he meets and he rescues a Mexican fugitive who's being held by some American bounty hunters. And he's taken him to a small town where he discovers that his older brother named Bambino is pretending to be the sheriff of the town while he's waiting for some men to pull
after he shot the sheriff.
The real sheriff.
The real sheriff. Which is a constant running joke because this poor sheriff ends up being shot pretty much by everybody. And it's always the same thing. We thought this guy was following us. We doubled back and we shot him. It just turns out we were just going in the same direction. So the poor sheriff keeps getting shot. And so the two brothers, eventually they meet some Mormons, though at times they seem more like they're Mennonites.
Yeah. Or Quakers.
Quakers.
Because, and this is true of a lot of spaghetti Westerns, they don't understand the differences, it's like, they love peace. Mormons did not love peace. They were a notorious.
As soon as we got introduced to the two blondes, the only two blondes in the whole crew, I go, they're going to play this up as Mormons because
so they made the religion whatever worked best for the they defined it whatever worked best for the plot. But I love this film. It reminded me very much. I always saw this film and imagined my older brother Doug and I going through the West. Doug is very much like the Bud Spencer character. He's quieter, he's gruffer. He's the kind of guy that would hit someone on the head and knock him out. And I always imagined myself as Terrence Hill, Trinity, but without the blue eyes and without any physical talent whatsoever to do things like that. But I will say that my brother could have done a good job as Bambino. So this was one of my guiltiest pleasures. I have probably seen this film 100 times. There's many times at night, and I want something that I don't have to think too much about, but it will amuse me. This film goes in the DVD player, and I do have a decent DVD of it, though I just looked and there is apparently a Blu-ray finally available. So guess he'll be getting that. This film was followed by a sequel called They Still Call Me Trinity. And there was a third film called Aces High, which basically this film was so successful. It was the most successful film at the Italian box office, and tickets sold until 1986. And when it was released in Hungary in the 90s, it became the most successful film released in the theaters in Hungary in the 90s. So I mean, this film was a huge international hit. It made Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer huge international stars. Terrence Hill is still working now. He has he continues to make movies, and he has a TV series called Don Matteo about a priest who solves crimes that's been running on Italian television for 20 years. So everyone who in this film did, this was a monster hit. And Bud Spencer and Terrence Hill have been in 18 films together. Sometimes when they get released in other countries, they call them Trinity something or other just to tag on to this, the success of this film.
Well, they had made 5 films in Italy before they made this movie, and this movie made them international stars, right?
Yeah.
Because it was distributed in the US.
Like Aces High, it's hard to get a good copy of these films because they've been released in so many countries by so many different that it was released as a trilogy with the film Aces High. What I got, Aces High was released as a Trinity film, which was made prior to this film.
Where's My Name Is Nobody in this timeline?
That was made in 73.
So this is 70.
Yeah.
Because Bud wasn't in.
No.
Bud was not in My Name Is Nobody.
My Name Is Nobody.
Yeah. But, I think if you look at My Name Is Nobody, Nobody is essentially Trinity with
right. So he's not the same character he was in this one? He's playing a different character.
Not in My Name Is Nobody, although everyone thinks it's the same character.
Right.
He's playing the same
guy.
Right.
He played the same guy with a different.
Well, the whole joke is it's a spoof of The Man with No Name. That's why they went with My Name is Trinity. And that's why they went with My Name Is Nobody.
Right.
Yeah.
All spoofing it. So
yeah. So essentially, Trinity. Nobody is Trinity, who has more of a goal, and more of a sense of it.
I still think I said this in My Name Is Nobody. Is he's an angel or something? He's connected because he comes through the way he comes through this stuff, and nothing ever happens to him, and he's able to turn everybody around. And it's this one was a lot of prayers going on in this one. I know it's the Mormons or the Mennonites or whatever they were.
Yeah, I just feel like on the prayer.
And
he ran out on the praying.
Yeah. But I think somebody actually called him an angel in this one.
Yeah, the girls have called him.
Yeah, so it's an interesting. He's so charming. He's so charming, that guy.
He came in like an angel and rescued him, and to which Bud goes, or something to that effect.
Right.
It wasn't the way he saw it.
Great tan too.
It's extremely silly, but
to me, I really like Bud too. To me, Bud is kind of the heart of the film, and I just like how unpleasant he can be. It's like anytime, they do it a couple times in the movie, he'll be walking down the street and one of the townspeople will say, "Hello, Sheriff," and he's like, "Shut up," or something like that. He has like no patience, but
he's got a very interesting fighting style too. With the
he slaps everybody.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't punch anybody; he slaps them.
Yeah.
Do you have Ralph? Do we have a trailer for this one?
Yeah. Here you go.
Oh,
take a look. You ready?
Well, let's take a look at the trailer because people want to understand what we're talking
about.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
And folks, use your monitors at home.
Right.
They call me Trinity.
Hey, Trinity. They say you got the fastest gun around.
Is that what they say?
What's going on here?
You sure you two fellas are brothers?
Yep. Same mother.
Well, I'm not looking for trouble.
Well, they'll be stiff before they can draw. You're still quick on the draw, I see.
But I bet you'll manage to mess things up on me. I don't know how, but I'm sure you'll do it. I suppose you got nothing to do with this, right?
No. Who's got the time? I'm already busy doing nothing.
With the restless guard.
I advise you to watch the deputy. He is very fast.
You hear that, Mortimer? The major says the deputy's very fast.
They offended the law. They said I was a son of a no.
That is serious. How are we going to settle that, boys?
You gonna handle it alone?
Sweet dream. I just woke up. You take your share.
Pardon me, brother.
Now go to bed, or you got something else planned for tonight?
Well, I really came for a drink.
I don't think so.
What do you think? Is that
We're back.
It's a terrible. I mean,
that's
trailer.
that.
I
tells you everything you need to know.
shot it. I knew they shot it without audio, so that was an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah. Well, if you've seen the trailer, the opening titles for like,
Am I being spoofed?
No, we just saw the trailer.
We just saw the trailer, Debbie.
Debbie saw the trailer.
We just saw the trailer.
He's not editing it in later.
It was live.
I'm going to go get some Kool-Aid.
You must have fallen asleep. I'm sorry. What were you going to say? Somebody was.
Okay. I just want to say, if you saw this trailer, the way they do the type execution, it's very much like the type execution on the opening titles for, I think, Fistful of Dollars, whichever one was the first of that trilogy. It's very much like that, you know, it like shifts around. It's like kind of the same font. And like they have these like 3 bullets rolling across too. Like there's images in this that have like that are like stylistic and have absolutely nothing to do with the movie.
It's so charming. The charm is in the fact that it's just so ridiculously, like they don't get it. Like Mormons or Mennonites, who cares? Yeah. You know, we're going to point this way and say that's Arkansas, Nebraska. Who cares? I mean, it's like, it doesn't matter. It's just the two guys are super charming.
Yeah.
Especially Terrence Hill. I just find him magnetic, and he's doing nothing really. I just like his look. Anyway, John and Drew, you guys have. Debbie, do you like this film before we get?
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Don't get it.
Well, I mean, okay.
Don't get it.
That's a review.
I know this.
Go on.
Sean loves this movie, and
I forced you to watch it once before.
Yeah.
Usually, she doesn't get all the way through it.
It's just, you know, too dirty. The guy's.
You mean just literally dirty?
Literally dirty.
He's so dirty. I mean, he takes a bath and
puts his dirty clothes.
Dirty,
and he's still dirty.
And he's got dirty clothes back on.
No socks either with his boots. Yeah. I mean, what's up with that?
That's terrible.
The scene that grossed me out is when the two guys come off the horse after the long desert. One guy jumps in the water to cool off.
Yeah,
the other guy's drinking the water behind him.
Yeah, that's what the West was like, Ralph. That was real.
And that's for the very first scene where he goes in that hut to eat the beans. He's completely covered in mud and dirt.
Yeah, and his hands.
He starved himself to eat that.
Debbie doesn't like eating scenes in this movie. She's previously that she.
But all that dirt makes his eyes pop, don't
they? Yeah, the dirt. You are correct. The dirt makes his eyes pop.
Absolutely.
I think the depiction of Mexican people in this film is just spot on. Oh my God, what they do to that poor little guy, that poor little Mexican guy, taking the bullet out of his arms, and then they hook him on whiskey.
And they do that most cliched Mexican music every time the band.
Right. Come on, the guys with the sombreros riding up on the horses. You know. Anyway,
the music alone is.
What do you got? What do you got on this one?
Well, I have to say I'm with Debbie on this one. I don't think it's bad. I wish that I hadn't been told that it was a comedy, because I would have had different expectations of it. And I've seen spaghetti westerns. I like spaghetti westerns, especially for a few dollars more. And I love westerns and all that kind of stuff. I don't know why I've never seen any of these. I mean, I've heard of Terrence Hill and everything. I think I haven't seen them because I didn't like it, and I didn't get it. I thought, are you spoofing a Western because it's not funny? Are you just doing a version of a Western? Because if you are, you're doing a Western it's fine. I mean, that premise and everything. I don't know if you guys watched the show Banshee that was on Cinemax. Fantastic show, but the original premise of the show is the main character, who's now the actor who plays Homelander in The Boys. He shows up and he's the new sheriff, and it turns out he killed the actual sheriff who was coming to town, and then he becomes the sheriff, but he's not a good guy. And that is, to me, a classic Western thing they use in the movie. But sometimes it's more fun just to watch the stuff that you guys already mentioned about how the Italians don't get the Americans details, which was, that reminded me a lot actually of Squid Game, because there was a lot of criticism of the acting of the English speaking, wealthy audience members. But that's because the people making it are Korean, and they don't have anybody consulting on the set. So they have somebody say a line and they go, okay, we got it, next on. And so, these movies were clearly made very quickly. And if you're shooting MOS, you can do it without sound. You can do it even faster. I just didn't think it was funny.
You didn't think that 20-minute fight scene wasn't
because it made me want to watch the end of Blazing Saddles instead.
Yeah.
Come on, girls, let's get them.
Yeah.
To me, the comedy was more in the small bits, like when they're taking the bullet out. First, they put the knife over the blade, and then they put the alcohol over it, and then after they get the alcohol over it, he wipes it.
He wipes it, yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Debbie snorted to that one. She liked that one. John, what about you?
Well, I got to tell you, this whole time I was thinking of you and me, Ralph. That the two brothers, So here's my feeling on this. I agree with Drew a little bit, because it is a spoof. I mean, admittedly, it's a spoof, but it almost didn't do enough to be spoofy. So it really didn't work that way. And when I'm comparing it to My Name Is Nobody, I like that movie a lot more. And I think part of it was Henry Fonda gave it more gravitas. It was as goofy as it was a little more grounded than this movie. This movie seemed like almost a Roadrunner cartoon to me. And I tell you, when I realized that was Farley Granger, who was the villain, I couldn't believe it because, he's in a couple of my favorite movies, Stranger on the Train and Rope. And to see him do that fake Southern accent just over the top, it was like, oh my God, we're going to go to Arkansas. Yeah. And that fight scene when there's all this apparatus around that he can use to jump over people and flip. It was funny. And it also reminded me a little bit of The Magnificent Seven when they taught the villagers how to fight.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And they were doing that whole thing and they're smacking them and hurting them. And then they finally have the big battle. So I like Terrence Hill a lot. I think he's the reason why you watch this movie because Ralph used the word, he is charming in the movie. But the goofiness was much higher than My Name Is Nobody. So there were times there where I kind of wandered off it, which I didn't do with My Name Is Nobody.
It's funny.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I liked it, but not nearly as much as I like My Name Is Nobody.
I thought there was more slapstick in My Name Is Nobody that I thought was. I was expecting. Remember the scene in the bar where he's drinking?
Yeah.
He drinks everything, and he's still able to shoot. Or the way he does that thing where he puts his gun and he spins on his gun thing. I was missing some of that slapstick in this because I had seen that one first. Now, when did Blazing Saddles come out? I asked
73.
Okay, so
73.
I got a total Blazing Saddles. Like the scene where they have the lookout up on the lookout, that old lookout that was up on the rocks. Waiting for the bands of people.
The guy in the sombrero.
I'm like, that's the sheriff. Remember, the sheriff is wrong, right?
Yeah.
I think that came from this. He even looked like the guy that they used in Blazing Saddles. And I think that Mel Brooks looked at this and he kind of used this as I know that song at the beginning of this one was goofy, but it's the same thing. You're seeing this guy, you're hearing the song. I was getting total Blazing Saddles vibe.
I've never, every interview I've ever seen of Mel Brooks talking about Blazing Saddles, this movie never comes up.
I find out Tarantino used the theme for Django.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a great use of it.
Yeah.
Right. So obviously, the people, they were watching it. Yes, it's not a great film. And the way Italians look at Americans, like just that brother, the guy who was running the Mennonite thing. I mean, come on. And the way they eat together, all that stuff, you just go, okay, this is how they look at it, Americans. But it catches me. I still find it so charming that I want to, I'm halfway through going, but I wanted to watch it all the way through. Especially to the scene where the two ladies were swimming in the water. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you like that. You thought they're going to be boobs.
A little later in the 70s.
You thought there was going to be boobs.
I'll
tell you the funny scene in the movie for me was when at the end where he decides he's going to stay and the priest is doing the prayer and all of a sudden, he starts looking around like, what?
He's going to work.
He's going to work. He's going to be labor.
It wasn't the prayers. It was the amount of work and he's going to be so exhausted.
But the look on his face, and then when the guy finally looks over there, he's gone.
Right.
I thought that was funny.
But the button is he sent the sheriff after his brother.
Right. That's right. So the sheriff didn't want him going with him.
Right. I buy into it. I buy into the silliness. Like I would never have heard about these films if we hadn't done My Name Is Nobody.
Nor I.
Or who Terrence Hill was. I had no idea who Terrence Hill was.
Well, I knew who Terrence Hill was because I had no clue. Other movies.
And I just find it so charming and goofy.
We have Italian cousins, and they're in the film business. Some of them, a lot of them that live in Rome. Now, what do they always say? They love Westerns. And they love us. They love Americans. They are people that, when you go there, everybody is just so wonderful.
Germans, not so much.
I mean, they loved us. The Italians they wouldn't let us.
French hate us.
Yeah.
Well, in Paris, I think, but not in the country.
No.
Because, they're happy. Well, according to Eric, what he said, how they, like what he was saying about Parisians. And I heard that they're very anti.
But do they love us for how we really are or how they perceive us being? Because these movies are through the lens of how Italians see American. And a lot of it isn't really that accurate. So, who do they love?
They love us because of, our spirit, our freedom. What we stand for is, fighting for our freedoms. And they love us for
French fries.
See, I think they love us for our movies.
Yeah, for our
that's
movies.
why they make movies like movies.
And then
sometimes a foreign country will make movies that are like our movies, like the spaghetti westerns. That some of the greatest westerns are not made of American westerns.
Right.
Like Power of the Dog got shit from Sam Elliott for not being shot in America. It's just silly stuff like that. It's still a good movie that's paying homage to a genre.
Right.
But I think like sometimes, like I don't know if you guys have seen any of the Turkish movies. But there's all these movies from
Turkish Star Wars.
Yeah, like Turkish Star Wars and all this stuff. And they're movies that are made, of course, not with the license, and they're made for $7 and they're garbage and they're enthusiastic garbage. But you can tell that the people who are making those movies don't know anything about how to make a movie. They don't know anything about what Star Wars is. But they have the pieces of like the young boy and all that other stuff and the old wizard and all those things. And it's really entertaining. At least this is a competent movie. And you feel like the people who made this movie, they love Westerns. Right. And that's not surprising because Westerns were a huge dominant cultural form. And that's something that people loved about America.
It's just, and every once in a while, you see a shot that you go, wow, they open up the vista and they'll do a scene where he's riding across the desert on the horse. It's just beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, they shot it on the border of Italy and Spain, and I cannot remember the name of that region, but it's just, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place to shoot any movie.
And John, you don't think Stuart Granger Harvey Keitel maybe was doing Stuart Granger?
You're talking about Farley Granger.
Farley Granger, Stuart Granger. Farley. Okay, Farley, you knew who I was talking about, so just go with it.
No, I didn't. When Drew corrects you, you don't get mad. Why do you get mad when I correct you?
Because listen.
I maybe.
I mean, I can't, I don't know how I just feel like this is.
Farley Granger, I mean, that was like not, that was pretty over the top.
You don't think Harvey Keitel was over the top?
Yes, but I think he was purposely over the top. I don't think Farley Granger was purposely over the top.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's so silly.
He's probably the only one speaking English in the whole friggin' cast, I'm sure.
Well, that was the same thing with Henry Fonda doing his.
Yeah, but Henry Fonda was way better than Farley Granger.
No, I'm not comparing those two. I'm just saying
same type of situation.
Right.
Because then everyone else is speaking Italian. He's the only one speaking English.
Yeah, that was.
He had a cigar in his mouth the whole time and made him talk a little.
I don't know. I'm charmed by these films. I would never seek them out if I didn't have to watch them for the show. But when I watch them, I'm charmed by them, and I want to stick through it to see what button they're going to put.
Yeah, see the progression.
Yeah.
Well, here to me, there's some things. A fan of ours who I saw at a poker game. We actually have people who listen to the podcast.
Do they subscribe? Do they hit the like? Do they hit the notification
we always
button?
tell them they should do that.
They love you.
Most of the people.
Yeah. I didn't check the likes on last week's show, but I will to see if.
I tell you, there's a fan base for the Quattrucci brothers. Let me tell you.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
They love you guys.
Oh,
unfortunately, it's all
and
guys.
It's my mom and dad too. Mom and dad, I think. Well, they don't even watch.
My parents don't watch it. They don't even subscribe.
Did they hit the like button at least?
No,
I don't think they would know how.
Well, what were you saying? What were you going to say?
One of our fans was so excited that we were doing. I mentioned, he's like, "What are you doing next?" I said, they call me Trinity, and he's like, "Oh, that is so great! I'm so glad you're doing that movie." He goes, "You know who Trinity is like? He's sort of like the Italian Jackie Chan." If you look
I can see that.
I see that. Yeah,
and I can see them loving these two guys. I mean, they're fun together.
He's very physical. He did a lot of pretty cool stuff physically.
Very athletic.
Yeah. So
when you look at Bud Spencer, does he look like an Olympic swimmer?
Is that his background? He was an Olympic swimmer?
Yeah, that's how he became a movie
But you
star.
could tell he carried himself
twice for Italy.
Well, Johnny Weissmuller certainly doesn't look like a swimmer.
But that guy was big, but he carried himself very well.
Yeah.
He carried himself very well. He had a good presence. He had a good presence.
He fit that role perfect. I just didn't like. He wouldn't punch; he'd slap. He was slapping everybody.
But no,
with that
but
big
he'd also
set. No,
do
he
that thing
right. But when he hit him in the face, it was always a slap.
Yeah, he slapped like Will Smith.
Yeah, he did.
I thought he was more of a chopper.
Well,
okay, that's Debbie's joke
And
of the
I
day.
do like it when I do like it when he like wakes his brother up to come over for the fight, and they're going to fight him, and Trinity goes, "So you're going to take them all?" And he's like, "I just woke up. You have to take your share."
I like when the Mexican bandit slapping everybody, all the Mennonites, and then he slaps him and nothing happens, and he's just staring at him, and then whack. That was funny.
And then the other guy slaps him,
right?
Afraid, and he still hits the bandit chief. But their relationship reminds me of the guys from, Shaun of the Dead and and Hot Fuzz.
That's a good call. Yeah,
And I think the third film in that trilogy, what's it, the Coronado or whatever trilogy, didn't work as well because I thought that they reversed the roles, and the thin guy was the screw up and the heavy guy was the serious guy. So
did the budgets go up for the movies as they progressed?
The Trinity films?
Yeah, because My Name is Nobody looked like they had more money to spend. That was a better looking movie.
Oh yeah, well that was, I think more of a, Hollywood back type film. That was definitely.
Didn't that one get produced by Sergio Leone too? Wasn't that the one that got produced by?
Yeah,
Leone?
but studio. I think studio backed it. I don't remember. I've only seen the sequel a few times because they lean in it too much. They lean into the comedy too much.
Oh,
in the sequel, maybe the non-sequel is more representative.
The sequel to this one. To
this one, they still call me Trinity.
Okay.
Not as good. And I also want to say, I remember one of the reasons why, and we'll see whether this will be proven true. Massive hits on My Name is Nobody. So I thought we'll see if the people come out and watch this episode about Trinity. And I hope they will. And I hope this we're always talking about bringing great films to the films that meant a lot to us. And I'll be the first one to say, this is not a great movie. If you look at it on its merits, on its filmmaking merits.
Oh, I applaud you. I applaud you.
Ebert gave this film 2.5 stars.
Thank you for that.
It's not a great film, but it is an enjoyable film, in my opinion. Why I love it is I could just watch Bud and Terrence just interact with each other because I think they're amusing. To me, the plot's irrelevant. The bad guy's irrelevant.
No one really gets hurt in the entire movie.
They're very well. He does kill the two. Well,
okay. I want this one thing this is really personal with me and Sean and his brother because I kind of had a theory. That's why you like this movie, because of you and your brother. Dougie's got a brother who's just not even 9 months older.
Well, he's 10 months older.
10 months older than Sean. So
the best 10 months of his life.
Yeah, before you got on the scene. So, his brother, and I know that I see it with you guys, you being brothers. You know what I mean? There's something about the close proximity. The age difference between you two are what, 3 years?
10. Ralph's 10 years older than me.
No, he's full of crap.
That's a lie.
I knew that was a lie.
I was about to
acting.
You dirty rascal.
Yeah, but that was apparently plausible enough. So that's a whole other.
No one freaked out when I said that. Did you notice that?
I freaked out because I said, "No, wait, you guys are."
I know how old Ralph is. I don't know how old you are, but
I'm 58.
Yeah,
but the age difference, the
disparity. You must be older because Ralph is Gen X.
I knew it was 3.
What'd you say? Because Ralph is right.
Gen X. When we started the podcast, he was the Gen X guy.
I've always looked up to Ralph. Ralph's always been my mentor, kind of.
We had to fill a slot.
So my point.
So Debbie, where are you going? I don't understand. Brothers.
His brother's a businessman, and Sean is, I wouldn't call him a businessman, but I guess you are a businessman. But our wedding, he was the best man. And if you ever want to see some funny, and don't focus on our wedding, it was the one in Vegas. Well, that's funny enough, but when he's standing there, and he's just like staring off into space. It's the funniest thing.
My brother, while he's the best.
Did he punch somebody on the top of the head?
No, he's like so sober. He's like,
oh.
But my brother was a good brother, his best man, because I was getting a tuxedo for my brother and my father. And while I was getting ready to pay, my brother goes, I'll pay for mine. Then he goes to my father, he goes, I'm going to pay for mine. Don't you want to pay for yours? My father's like, nah.
When I got married, I asked my father to be my best man. I said, Dad, I would love you to be my best man. He goes, John, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I don't need to be up there with you. Pick somebody else.
You know what? My brother did.
Thanks, Dad.
Wow.
On the bachelor party, my brother took the lap dance for me.
Oh,
he was willing to make that sacrifice.
Wow, that's nice. Sacrifice.
Okay, we went off the rails a little here.
Ralph wouldn't do that. Believe me, Ralph would have taken all the lap dances. He would.
I was on the way. John, it's funny you mentioned that. On the way to the beach this weekend, I went over the bridge in Richmond where we went to the strip club under the bridge. And I said, John,
this was a strip club. Ralph recommended that as soon as you left the place, you had to cover yourself with hand sanitizer because if you touched anything in that place, you're going to get the clap or something.
It was awesome. It was so much fun. All right, that's what brothers do, though. That's what brothers do.
That's what I'm Trinity and you're Bud.
All right, let's rate this thing. I know it's silly, but go ahead, Drew.
I would say Yippee-Ki-Yay, meh.
Okay, John.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's right in the middle for me. I didn't hate it. I'll give it a Yippee-Ki-Yay, meh.
Yeah, Debbie.
Oh, I hate to say it. I'm gonna say, like, because of our conversation and the brothers understanding that, I'm gonna say Yippee-Ki-Yay, almost a yay.
Almost.
Yeah, I'm saying Yippee-Ki-Yay. I'm right in between May and yay. And part of this is I would never recommend this to somebody to say, you got to watch this film. It's great. Because they're going to look at you and go, what is wrong with you? Because the sense of, I'm kind of like Sean. I'm like, yeah, it just gets under my skin for some reason. And I really think for me, I just find, again, he may be my Brad Pitt. If I had known him before Brad Pitt, I just find this guy just fun to watch, just to look at his mannerisms. And I know he's playing a slacker in these things, but just the athleticism
really
he
sexy,
has.
I'll give you that.
What's that?
Bud is really sexy. I'll give you that.
I thought Bud carried himself very well, but I'm talking about Terrence Hill, of course.
Oh,
you guys are always slipping those in on me. Anyway, but I would never say to someone, hey, you got to watch it. It's like a spaghetti Western. Like I said, they'll never take another recommendation at that point. But I think they're charming. I think they're really charming. And the first one, the Nobody charmed me. And this one definitely did too. So,
I would say if you want to see a movie with Terrence Hill, one of his wrestlers, that's the one that I would recommend. Go watch My Name Is Nobody. Yeah. That's the one that I think you'd like. But maybe go back and see this one.
I did see trailers. It must be for the other one. The sequel to this. They Still Call Me Trinity. Yeah. There was a lot more slapstick in the trailer.
Yeah, there was a lot more slapstick
than either of those two that we talked about before.
Did they do the fast speed, fast camera stuff that they do?
Well, they did that a little bit in Nobody.
They did one when he pulled the gun. One. Yeah. Right. No, when he pulled the gun, they did. It was fast. It was sped up.
So crazy. I mean, he didn't shoot. He just like whooped his gun out and did it.
Right.
And
he shot the very first two he shot were from behind. Anyway, it's all impossible, but it's still fun.
He only shoots people behind him to kill. Ed, he shot the one guy and he castrated the other fella because he was going to shoot those men where they hurt.
Well, speaking of castration, if you want to see a really great Western with this theme, I think Django Unchained is the one to go to. It's not as funny, although there is some funny.
It is funny.
It does have its laughs.
It's got its parts.
I mean, to me, that's one of the pleasures I've gotten out of watching Tarantino movies over the years, is you go back and you watch the movies that inspired him, many of which are trash, and also the music. And I had never seen. I knew this theme. It's basically Django's theme. It's like a happy theme in the movie. Is is the main theme of this movie, which they use a lot as well.
Yeah.
And it's just it's great because it's absolutely what you would expect to hear in an Italian Western movie. It's of that era.
Driving.
But there's just a classic fun feel to it.
Yeah,
so
charming.
I
agree.
That.
Yeah,
but there's some other music that they brought in. It was so 70s.
Yeah,
it was really weird.
It's hard not to get dated when you're using the latest.
What was that, Sean?
Stuff.
Some wah-wah guitar.
It was crazy because they had the spaghetti western, the whistle thing, and then they play this funky 70s stuff. I'm like, where the hell are they going with this? It was really
and
weird.
when he goes to the lake and sees the girls at the creek, that is like porn music.
Yeah. Well, Ralph was hoping they were going to disrobe.
I'm expecting.
He was waiting for them to
disrobe, floating in the water. And
they don't need to disrobe if they're wet enough. That's the whole.
But Ralph, did you pause it, Ralph, just to see? I mean, how transparent was
I slowed it down a little bit, but no. But he said he at least he said I'll drown. I can't. The water has. She goes. The water's only up to here. Oh my God, so good. All right, Chris is bringing the film next week.
Yeah,
you don't have to spin because this one. He's bringing Walter Hill's Streets of Fire.
Love that movie.
If you guys need it, let me know because I just converted that. I told you guys from my Laserdisc.
We were watching it on Amazon.
Oh, it's on Amazon?
Yeah, because he said it wasn't available, but it is on Amazon.
Okay, so that's the one to watch, and we'll talk about that on the next show, number one. That show, episode one something. All right.
Are we going to sing? Can we bring some of the music too? We can play 30 seconds of the music, right?
Sure, I'll play it under the track.
I can dream about you if I can hold you.
Oh, you're talking about Streets of Fire, not
this one.
Trinity.
No.
Oh,
this had good music.
Okay.
Wait a minute, you didn't like the Trinity music?
I like the mishmash of genres music. That's what I like.
I guess I love kitsch because I loved it.
I guess you do.
I thought was
because My Name Is Nobody. They did the same thing. I remember talking to you guys about the music. The music just seemed so out of place. Yeah, it didn't fit. Yeah. So at times, not the whole movie. At times, it just was like, where are they going with this? So maybe that's a spoof part of it.
We'll have a real rock and roll classic coming up, right? That's all rock and roll music in
it is.
Streets of Fire. So, and it's got Diane Lane, early Diane Lane.
18 years old.
Oh my
and William Dafoe is barely billed in it. He's like,
and Michael Pare, future superstar after this movie.
Rick Moranis is in this too.
Rick Moranis plays the.
Yeah, he did not get along. Pare hated him.
Because
Why didn't they get along?
Because
I read something
where Moranis was insulting him all the time.
Well, when he met him, he goes, "So you're
comic."
Right. You're a cool guy. They call you a cool guy. When it's like he could tell that Moranis was trying to get under his, what do you call it? Insult humor. Yeah. Like people have insult humor and Pare just is like,
no, I like it.
Like Gilbert.
Yeah.
Like Gilbert.
Yeah. So
and Moranis came out of that.
That's a fun movie. And there's a lot of good stuff on the making of that on YouTube. So
check it out.
If you want to check it out. Yeah, really good.
So enjoy. Everybody have a good, safe week.
See ya.
You too.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Hey, listen, by the way, hope we earned your subscription today. We're
working hard. We try hard.
We're working hard to get every
We watch these movies so you don't have to. No, we want you to watch these movies.
No, we want you to watch them.
We bring you Italian superstar.
Hey.
What other podcast is doing this?
That's right. And Ralph is admitting his man crushes on a weekly basis. How can you not like that?
And if you think this one is bad, wait till I bring the Doberman Gang, my other big film from.
Is that with Fred Astaire? No, that's a sequel.
Yeah,
the Doberman Gang. That was the sequel. Fred Astaire is in the sequel.
All right, we're going to keep Sean off the wheel for a while. I think
that's with Rita Hayworth.
That's with Rita Hayworth. That's right.
All right.
All right,
leave
Ralphie,
on that one.
Great,
good job.
Well produced show today, Ralph. As always, great job.
Right. See you guys next week.
All right.
Bye.